from the local station. This is Weather Authority Weekday.
Hello, welcome. Happy Tuesday. I am the Weather Authority meteorologist, Michelle McCormick. Good to be with you on this News for Jax Plus show, the Weather Authority Weekday. All right, well, if you haven't been outside yet, we have some weather changes happening pretty much as we speak right now. Here's a look at our 501 Riverside camera. And while it still looks to be a pretty nice day out there, the wind is the story right now. It is definitely starting to pick up out of the east-northeast at 16. And this wind is going to be a factor throughout the day, and it's going to help usher in some more clouds and some rainy weather over the next 24 to 48 to even 72 hours. So, of course, we're watching that. All right, here's the airport. Look, the camera's bobbing and bouncing all around. That, again, is the windy conditions out at the airport. Right now, no reported delays locally for us out of Jacksonville. Always check with your airline ahead of time, but Denver reporting some delays, it looks like. And there was some weather that moved through Colorado and areas to the midwestern part of the country. Now, for us locally, just the wind is the story right now. With the wind, we're going to usher in some rain into some of our southern zones today. That east coast sea breeze is also going to push the wind all the way inland and maybe fire up some west coast, east coast storms and showers along I-75 corridor. Right now, temperatures, though, moving into the 80s, and we're going to stay mostly in the 80s today. We might have some 90s flare up in the western counties, but for the majority of us, look at Palaca, still below 80 at 79 right now, and Green Cove Springs at 76, because that storm from the south is starting to slowly meander to the north. So let's take a look at our future cast, and we're going to roll it for you. And this is where we're going to see by 5:15 that east wind is pushing those storms inland and south, keeping them south. There's also an area of a very weak front in southeast Georgia, which is going to kind of sandwich this frontal system right in northeast Florida and keep it in our southern zones. Overnight into tomorrow, this is where we're going to start to see a change. Here's 6:30 tomorrow morning. Our coastline will get the rain first, and it will stay along the I-95 corridor during the rush hour and into southern Georgia as that frontal system starts to fade away. Wednesday, lots of coverage opportunities for rain. It'll be hit or miss. There'll be rounds of rain. It's not going to be a complete deluge all day long. It's going to be gloomy and cloudy, but we're going to have rounds of rain. So there'll be pockets when we don't have any rain at all. There'll be pockets when we have heavy rain with gusty winds, the isolated thunderstorm. We're not going to see a severe factor with this. The ingredients just aren't there to make it a severe system, but it will be a nuisance, and it will impact your Wednesday for sure. This is by 3:45 in the afternoon, 4:45. You can see these little pockets of heavy downpours. Now, heavy downpours at times can also cause localized flooding. So just keep that in mind too. If you come across an area of some pooling rain and you're not familiar with this area, turn around, don't drown. It's a big saying. But also, this is going to affect our beaches and our rip current risk as well. And I realize it's the first week of summer break rather, and it's not going to be the best beach day overall. But over the next 5 days, we do have a rainy pattern setting in. It's going to be here, and we have opportunity for almost 3 inches of rain at our area beaches. This is 2 inches along the I-95 corridor and areas trickling, but areas to the west, not as much rain is likely, maybe up to 2 inches along our western counties. But for today, we're going to absolutely see the rain chances increase, mostly in our southern zones and out west along I-75. Temperature only making it to 87. Yesterday, our high was 90. I don't think we'll see 90 today officially at the airport, but we could see 90s inland, especially where we don't have any rain in southeast Georgia. And then temperatures dipping back into the 70s. A blanket of clouds will keep temperatures a little on the warm side. Tomorrow, maybe about 5 degrees warmer than where we should be for this time of year. All right, here's your 7-day forecast, and it sure does look gloomy because we do have 2 heavy days of rain, Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, we see an increase in temperatures. We go back over the 90-degree mark, and this could cause that afternoon heating with the sea breeze convergence, and this is what could cause those storms to fire off throughout the afternoon. I don't think Saturday and Sunday are going to be washout days, but I think we will see those afternoon storms both weekend days because of that afternoon heating. Now, there is a shrimp homestand starting tonight with the Durham Bulls, and I think it's going to be okay tonight, but Wednesday and Thursday specifically could be rainy afternoons and evenings for some baseball. All right, folks, when we come back, I'm going to break down some rip current risks for you coming with the new hurricane season just starting. We're 3 days in to the 2025 hurricane season. And in addition to talking about rip current risks at the beach and why they're a point that the National Hurricane Center is making this year, we also have a little storm kind of brewing off the coast that we want to tell you about. So stick around. We'll be back in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back to the Weather Authority Weekday Show. I'm meteorologist Michelle McCormick. Well, looking outside at the beach right now, it does seem a little bit on the windy side, which always kicks up some of our rip current risks. And right now we do have a moderate rip current risk along our area beaches, all the way from the Golden Isles down to Flagler County. But this shot shows a very pretty picture. What it doesn't show you is the windy conditions. We can kind of see some wave heights right now, but this year, the National Hurricane Center made some changes to their hurricane cone forecasting because of rip current risks. Let's watch this segment from our hurricane special, the Hurricane Plan. We're watching folks have such a wonderful day at our beaches. They're surfing, they're walking, and they're really enjoying everything that the beach has to offer. But we're also, in the back of our mind, thinking about hurricane season. We need to be prepared. We need to have a plan, and we need to keep an eye on the storm probabilities. This year, the National Hurricane Center is taking their familiar cone one step further. A hurricane, a tropical system, a cyclone can be hundreds of miles offshore, but still affecting our beautiful beaches. That's with rip current risk, storm surge, and all the inland impacts that we could have due to wind. This year, the National Hurricane Center is honing in on a new cone and the impacts that could bring to our area. Many rip current fatalities happen when swells from distant hurricanes create dangerous surf and rip current conditions along our coastline. To help you stay safe, the National Hurricane Center is rolling out a new National Rip Current Risk Map. This map will show you the rip current risks from the National Weather Service right here in Jacksonville whenever there's an active tropical storm. This user-friendly map will help people know if it's safe to come down to our beaches. Well, when there's a rip current risk, it's never safe. Even cyclones that are hundreds of miles offshore will increase the rip current risk along our beaches, even when a storm isn't heading to our coast. If you're not a strong swimmer, you want to stay out of the water. Even strong swimmers can get swept away in a rip current. So using this new map from the National Hurricane Center is a great way to see if the risks are worth taking. And just a heads up, while this map is a great opportunity to see the risk of the rip currents, it is not showing wave heights. Now that information can be found online on our website, news4jax.com. Search for Mark Collins' story. There's an amazing map in that web story that shows you how you can find out what the wave heights are. And as always, we want to remind you that the cone graphic is purely just a guide to help us help you stay safe. We want you to plan, we want you to be prepared, and we want you to know the impacts that a storm, even if it's hundreds of miles offshore, can have on our area. The cone is just a probability. It can shift at any time. So make sure you always stay online with us at news4jax.com and on air with us as well. We're watching, folks. So great information there. And the National Hurricane Center is really supporting the fact that rip currents kill more people during a storm than the storm itself if it doesn't make it on shore. So hundreds of miles offshore really does affect our shoreline here across the Atlantic. Okay, so what do we have brewing right now? Well, it's a non-tropical low system that does have the potential to gain a little momentum. However, the National Hurricane Center is giving it about a 10% chance over the next 48 hours and over the next 72 hours, or 7 days rather. And it's this blob of yellow that you see right here on your screen. What will happen with this if it were to develop into a tropical low is it's going to lift to the north and then it's going to shoot out to the east. That's the opposite direction of where we are, right? We're west of where the coastline is. So thankfully, this isn't going to be much of an issue. It's just going to bring maybe a little more rain into our area. Now, the past few days, there's been a very wet system in South Florida, and this is just a part that's lifting up along with the weather that we're having today. the weather that's moving from south to north. This is just a little offshoot of that just kind of went astray and started to circulate in the Atlantic and form into a non-tropical low. So if this were to develop, it's likely to move north and it's going to move to the east. If this were to develop over the next 7 days, our first named storm of 2025 is Andrea. All right, folks, well, we really appreciate you joining us today for the Weather Authority weekend, or weekday show rather. That segment that I did on the rip current risks for hurricane season, well, that can be found at the Weather Authority Hurricane Plan. That's the 1 hour show that all of us on the Weather Authority team put together for you so that you can be prepared for hurricane season. Check it out. You can go to our Plus channel where you are right now, News for Jax Plus. It's the app, or you can find it at the News for Jax YouTube page. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We'll see you back here at noon and 4 o'clock this afternoon with Richard. Have a great day.
See why every day more people are choosing News 4 Jax, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.